In this video we're going to be discussing how to make not just a stem and leaf plot, but a stem and leaf plot that will allow us to compare two different data sets, distributions, side by side. So we're going to call this a back-to-back stem and leaf plot. And all this really is just a normal stem and leaf plot in which instead of having a stem and a leaf going off one side, we're going to have leaves going off both sides to represent different data sets so that we can compare them more easily. Okay, so it says the number, this is just an example here, but let's work through this one. It says the number of stories and two selected samples of tall buildings in Atlanta and Philadelphia are shown. So it says construct a back-to-back stem and leaf plot and compare these distributions. So we have our Atlanta data and our Philadelphia data. I noticed looking through this here, my minimum, at least for my Atlanta data, is 26, my maximum 70. So at least my leading digits are going to have to start with 2 and go all the way up to 7, okay, as far as leading digits. And then Philadelphia, I think that should be enough to cover Philadelphia as well, but if our stem starts at 2, that would cover that. And if we go up to 7, we should make it past 61. So we should have enough in our stem to cover both sides. So let's start with this. How might we construct our stem and leaf plot? The important thing is this. What we're going to do is we are going to locate our stem centrally this time. So we say, here is going to be the stem, okay? And what we'll do is we'll put a leaf off on the left and off on the right. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to write, this is our Atlanta data, okay? And this is our Philadelphia data, so Philadelphia. Okay, and so constructing this just like a normal stem and leaf plot, let's say we were doing Atlanta here, we'd say that we would have in our stem a 2 for our 20s, we'd have 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s. Okay, so the interesting thing about this is typically, you know, when we fill these out, we have, say, ignore the left here, we have a stem and the leaf goes off on the right. What we're going to be doing is, since we're comparing these both ways, we're actually going to make our Atlanta leaves a little bit backwards than what we normally do. So for instance here, if I see in the 20s we have a 26 and a 28 and a 29, I'm going to write 26, 28, and 29. So you can see that our stuff kind of emerges out of the stem outwise, okay? So in that case, instead of writing like this, I guess, you know, we say 26, 28, and 29, we want them to originate from the middle and work their way out. So 26, 28, and 29, okay? So now that we've gone through those three data, we say we've got a 31 and a 32, so we got 31, 32, so those are out. And then I also have 1, 2, 3, 4 more 30s too, so we say 1, 2, 3, 4. We say 34, another 34, 36, 38, so 36, 38. So a lot of buildings have this many stories. So a lot of buildings have stories in the 30s here. We say, okay, so 40, 40. So we get a 0 here and a 0 here. So we'll cross those off. We say 44 and 44. So I'll put my two 4s in here. 44 and 44. 47. Okay. So we get 50 and 50. So we say 50, 50. 52, 52. So we say 52, 52. 53. 55, so we get a 5 that would be placed under this here. We say 60, so now 60, 0 after the 6, 63, and then 70. Okay, so you can see that most of the data for Atlanta, it seems, lies between like in the 30s to 50s range, but it's all this chunk right here. How does this compare to Philadelphia? Well, the nice thing is, if we were to make a stem and leaf plot on this side now, we could compare them straight up. So we say 25, we say 25, cross that off, so we get 30, 30, 30, 30, so we've got 30, 30, 30, 30. So get those out of the way. It looks like we have a 32 and a 32 next. So we say 32, 32, 33, 34, 36, 36, 36, 38, 38, 39. Okay, so many more in the 30s in Philadelphia. As a matter of fact, we have another 39 on this. Okay, looking at the 40s now, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 40s. So we say 40, 40, 40, 40. 50, we got one that lives in the 50s there. 50, 53, 54, 58, and then 61. So if I were now to say, okay, well, here are stem and leaf plots, what conclusions could we draw? We can say overwhelmingly, Philadelphia has buildings that have the number of stories in the 30s, many more, or much more than Atlanta has. And you could say that the majority of both cities, I don't know, drawing conclusions from this here, we could see have stories that are anywhere from like the 30s to 50s range. Okay, but I would say that more than in Philadelphia here, you can see that this had buildings in Atlanta like 44, 44, 47, whereas these were all just like 40s, lower 40s, and then maybe mid to some upper 50s for Philadelphia. But I would say Atlanta has, you know, the taller buildings in general, and you could see that by comparing these back to back. So that is how you would create a back-to-back stem and leaf plot. Cheers.